We're going to be doing our review of Ultraman Blazar's episodes 7 and 8, the first two-parter of the series. And Ultraman, finally gets like his first little power-up at the end of this duo. Because like I was like watching this and I was like, man, Ultraman Decker, it was like the second episode. He's got a variant form, and I think it was like the fourth episode he's summoning classic kaiju to fight for him. On this one, I'm like, the second episode, he's got a fishing pole.
I mean, the show Ultraman series, he didn't have all these crazy powers.
Oh, no.
Ultraman didn't have all these crazy power-ups.
No, not at all.
Day. But, yeah, I get it's part of the modern day thing.
Yeah, and, one of the things I was kind of excited about was, the first episode was very serious, and the second episodes were very, very fun. The continuing ones were very funny, and I really thoroughly enjoyed them. But it was nice to see them get back to a serious tone again.
Yes.
Not much humor in these two episodes at all.
Yeah. No, they still squeeze a pinch in, but yeah.
Yeah, pinch in here and there, but nothing too much.
Yeah.
I guess, do you want to...
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It basically starts off, Gento's just kind of at the base, and somehow a conversation comes out that he's been friends. His professor was this world-renowned kaiju researcher, and the crew's like all excited, nerding out over it. Turns out Gento usually used to just go on like fishing, spend the day fishing with them and everything. And this upside-down rainbow has been appearing in the sky across Japan. And apparently it's an omen saying that there's going to be some really crazy, heavy storms coming. So it cuts to the professor. We don't know at the time that it's the professor. We just see it's an old guy walking near a lake. And he sticks his hand in the water, and then he pulls it out, and it's kind of like in pain. And he has these bracelets on him, and they begin glowing. And then an upside-down rainbow appears in the sky right over him. So some time goes by, and then Gento's like, you know what? I'm going to go fish with the professor for some reason.
Yeah.
So he goes fishing with the professor. It turns out it's been 7 years since Gento's seen him. And the professor's telling this whole story about how there's been a drought, because there's been a drought going across Japan during this time right now. And he tells the story how there was a similar drought when he was a child, and how they prayed to the rain god to provide rain. And his grandmother warned him, if there's even a pinch of evil within anybody, the rain will turn into a squall. So if anybody involved with calling the storm had evil intentions, it would turn into the superstorm. So it shows in the thing that they did get a lot of rain, and basically this rain god is called Nijikagachi, who is this guy above Dan's head over here. So shortly after their little fishing trip, Gento goes back to the base, and the kaiju appears and drains the lake that they were fishing in. They don't know what this kaiju is, so the base just sends out Earth Garen to confront it, and the Kaiju Nijikagachi begins making the storm. At the time, they don't realize that's what they're dealing with, but it is. And the pressure begins to just hurt everyone, because now you have the storm, and there's a sudden massive pressure change going on. It's like Nijikagachi just forming the storm through its body. And everyone's just heads are killing them. And it turns out the professor is the one that has summoned Nijikagachi. And we learn his intentions later on in episode 8, which is the next one. We'll cover that as well. But all this is going down. Gento goes to the professor. The professor blasts him with the bracelets and knocks Gento down. And Gento's down for the count. He's out cold.
Yeah.
And Earth Garen shows up. It turns out there's now 7 hurricanes, typhoons, being formed across Japan. Earth Garen stands 0 chance against this kaiju. I mean, this monster is just OP.
Yes.
I mean, even in
It's just
episode
taking
8,
shots and it's not even
yeah,
affecting it.
yeah. I mean, this monster was just a stud. Like,
Yeah.
you could not touch this thing. So the kaiju just is just relentless. Gento ends up getting back up, turns into Blazar, but the Blazer Spear causes an explosion and knockback, and Ultraman just didn't really do anything with that Blazar Spear. It did nothing, and he ran out of time and energy, and he ends up having to retreat. And this Nijikagachi still stampedes across Japan, and that's the end of the first episode for this two-parter, and it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
How are they going to stop this thing? Garon couldn't stop it. They couldn't even get near it because of the pressure. And even Gento got knocked back by the professor. He could do nothing as Ultraman Blazar. The spear was useless. So the Blazar energy, not effective against Nijikagachi.
Yeah. So one of the, I really like this kaiju design. I thought it was really cool, and especially when it had like this like visor thing that turned into like these like rainbow wings for on top of its head.
Yeah, it would like double as like a helmet where it looks like it's just this creature with like horns, but then he like flips back and it's the wings and reveals the real face.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome design. I mean,
yeah, they've been really good this series so far with the kaiju designs. I feel like they've really tried to step up like with the originality. We're going to be doing the 9th episode on the next, and that's like the first, I think, reused kaiju.
Yeah, I mean, they had the aliens,
yeah,
but those weren't really kaiju.
Yeah. And plus, we got a sentient clothes dryer in that one.
Yes. They gave us what was the driver's name? I can't remember.
It was like Karuru.
They gave us Karuru.
So you really can't complain too much.
Yeah. Karuru was the hero there. And I really hope Karuru comes back for the finale.
Yeah. I hope, like one like the subplots was like one of the guy's families has a farm and it's not been doing well because of this drought and it's been so hot. So when we open in on this, tomatoes. So when we open on the second episode, Gento's in the hospital, they wake up and they find out about all these typhoons and everything. But they're kind of like, they don't know what the motives are yet. And they're kind of like, hey, like, we're getting all this rain that we need. Like they're still kind of just like, is it really that bad? And that's when Emmy comes in with the this ancient lore, because she's like, oh, it turns out all these villages have been worshiping Nijikagachi. All trouble pronouncing Nijikagachi. And she's like, they all have slightly different lores about this monster, but basically they all agree that you summon it somehow and it provides all of this rain. But then there was this one city that has a story where they summoned it and it destroyed the entire city. It didn't provide a bunch of, it didn't provide all this nice rain for the crops and everything. It leveled out the whole, they said a rainbow poured out of its head and it destroyed the entire town. So that was the one story that was a little different. So Gento goes to seek out the professor again, and the professor's basically like, I think humanity went down the wrong path. We're polluting the environment. We're unnatural. And we're just going to have him just destroy all of the world. And, then we'll have the ability, because he's not going to kill all the humans, to rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's kind of his theory, because Gento's like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, why would you there's other ways to get around this problem. Like, why are you gonna have him just kill a bunch of innocent people? And he's just like, I'm the bad guy. I don't know. He doesn't really provide a great reason for it.
Yeah. And then I forgot who it was. One of the crew, like, oh, I read his books. I really know like his thought of mine, and they even try to talk it out with him, and he's like, you know what, that really is a great argument, but it's too late. He's like, I want it to play out this way in my way. He's like, I don't care,
Yeah.
and they end up shooting off his bracelets that are helping him have his connection with Nijikagachi, but it doesn't really do anything to weaken Nijikagachi
If
either.
anything, it powers them up.
Yeah, it pisses him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of their theories was like, okay, we're gonna have to. They're linked, so we might have to kill the professor.
Yeah.
And the other backup line, Gento was like, maybe the bracelets are linking him. So maybe if we can destroy the bracelets, that will break the bond. So maybe we can try that before we kill him.
Yeah.
So that's why he broke the bracelets. But yeah, he starts. Earth Garon's now. They finally installed the railgun on him, so he's trying to get like off a good shot, and keeps missing because the recoil's too big. They weren't ready. Like they were expecting to mount it like a couple months from now. But Garon's downed now. He's prone on the ground, almost like he's crawling. So he's like, there's not going to be the recoil. So Gento goes as Ultraman. He's like wrestling Nijikagachi. And finally they kind of get to the point where he has like this sphere on his head. They shoot it with the railgun and it explodes. And they're like, oh, like he's weakened, like, yay. And then he goes to do like, I guess like his like final, like, oh, this is gonna be like my final move. Shoots like a rainbow starts coming out of like his head. Like that was gonna be like kind of like the old story where like, oh, the rainbow came out and he destroyed everything. So Blazar jumps up, grabs the rainbow, and they're like, did he just grab the rainbow? And I guess because a Blazar is light energy, and that's all that rainbows are, is just light refracting. He like absorbs it, and we cut to like, this is the first shot we actually see of Gento inside of Ultraman, kind of like what his current status is, because I keep referring back to the previous series, but in Decker, he would kind of communicate to Ultraman during the fights and stuff, and he'd be like, they'd be going over the fight together.
Yeah.
But we don't get that with Blazar. Blazar just grunts.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we actually see what Gento's doing during these transformations.
Yeah.
So he's in there, he gets like a new power coin, puts it into his thing, and now Blazar summons this awesome like rainbow shuriken.
Yes.
Like I can see, like that's the picture that's above Frank, is like he like spreads out the rainbow energy and forms this like rainbow shuriken.
Yeah, it's like giant. It's like basically, like a shuriken basically is what it is, but it's like a buzzsaw.
Yes.
If they made a shuriken a buzzsaw, like huge. It's like if they ripped out Gigan's like saw.
Yes, like that's how big it is in scale. It's massive. So he fires it at Nijikagachi. I don't know, I'm having such a difficult time saying it.
The spelling's it's a crazy,
slices him
it's a crazily
straight
spelled word.
in half.
Yes.
Like OP.
Typical Ultraman fashion. How are we gonna kill it? Split it in half or blow it up. That's Ultraman.
Yeah, I mean that is Ultraman, but like it was one of the more brutal kills in this series. Now I'm wondering, like, how is this going to affect Blazar moving forward? Like, is this going to be something he just pulls out when he needs it? Is it going to manifest in different ways? Because it does seem that, from what I've seen online, that there are going to be other power coins that he may acquire throughout the series.
Yes.
So, I'm guessing, we're going to start getting a little bit more of Blazar's lore, maybe? Because it's been very mysterious up until now.
Yes, that's true.
So,
I have seen the next episode, and spoiler, he does use the rainbow coin again.
Oh.
But no more lore. But I can't wait to review that episode. I'm really excited about that one. But the episode ends, the professor's there, and they're like, listen, he's the one that summoned the monster, but the police are like, there's not enough evidence, and there's no human that can be strong enough to control a kaiju that powerful. So the professor gets off clean after basically trying to destroy the world.
So basically what they're saying is Scar just needs like body cameras.
Yeah.
To be like, I mean, because there is no evidence that he did anything except for him having a giant snake tattoo like the villain from the first Librarian movie. But besides that, I mean, there really is no physical evidence, just his confessions.
Yeah.
And if nobody was around to really...
I mean, he was a world-renowned kaiju researcher. I mean, if anybody's going to know how to control a kaiju, wouldn't it be a world-renowned researcher?
Yes. And if you have a bunch of government officials saying, like, hey, this guy admitted to doing this one thing with this kaiju, I don't know, but now he's just fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's back to fishing again. That's how it ends. He's like, I'm going to go back to my happy life of fishing.
I'm assuming that there might be other... Because he equates these kaijus with being gods.
Yeah.
So maybe he will find another god to summon.
Yeah. Maybe he'd be a recurring villain.
I think that he...
This is almost like the second, like, deity-esque kaiju that we had, too.
Yeah.
Because they had the mountain deity with the... Was it the Emmy episode?
It was the other... Henri. Yeah.
It was her episode. That was a cool episode. Like I said, they've nailed it with the kaiju. We've only seen Garamon return. I saw Gavadon has made a return recently, which I'm really excited about that one. I heard that one was great. That was just last week. So we got some catching up to do. We'll get in there. This is episode, what did we do, 7 and 8 just now?
So
we're about halfway. We're halfway behind, but
yeah,
we're going to start catching up on these guys.
Yeah.
But it's been a really awesome series so far. Definitely enjoying it. Like I've said before, I'm only familiar with the show and stuff, but really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great series, and yeah, I guess you're just gonna have to wait till the next episode to review it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that means that we are on to our main event